Welcome to Transform Now, the podcast brought to you by robotic process automation pioneer Blue Prism. Digital transformation has the potential to reshape the way companies service their customers, engage their employees, and manage their operations. Whether you're looking to develop strategies, tactics, and best practices to positively impact the future of work, or you're curious to learn how other companies have successfully navigated their digital transformation programs, then this podcast is for you. We're here to help you transform now.
Now I'm really pleased to be joined by some of Blue Prism's customers. We have Tags Moodley and Kusheel Amritlall from Old Mutual with us. Gents, thanks so much for joining us. Lovely to have you with us. I know you've had some huge successes with intelligent automation. I'm really interested to hear about them. First, do you think you could tell us a little bit about where this journey all began for you guys?
Thanks, Kavita. Maybe I'll start, Kusheel, and you can jump in. So, Old Mutual is a 176-year-old company, deeply entrenched in the community, very big focus on our employees, and a massive focus on our staff, on our customers. And in the words of our CEO, we're not just a 176-year-old organization, but really a 24-month-old startup. And everything that we've been doing from a business transformation perspective is really geared in that direction. And just on 2 years ago, we decided to embark on this RPA journey, which is then transformed into an applied intelligence journey, which I'm sure Kusheel will talk a little bit about later. And we've grown this from a handful of robots to probably the biggest implementation on the continent. And if you take one of our operations like the call centers, we've scaled it to deliver in excess of 17 million minutes saved. And I think by any stretch of the imagination, it is an excellent achievement by the team. But it doesn't come without its challenges. And I think Kusheel will tell us a little bit about that, having led the team to do this.
Yeah, I think just building on that, Tags, and I mean, that concept of a 24-month-old startup is, I think, what's the differentiation for us. Sort of 2 and a bit years ago, when we first embarked on this Blue Prism journey, like Tags mentioned, it was a handful of bots. It was us experimenting. It was us testing conventional business practices to, challenge the status quo, understand how new technology would work in this environment. And I guess given a few years of success and fast forward a few years, like Tags mentioned, we have a scaled automated workforce, but it hasn't gone without its challenges. And those challenges really were at that foundational starting period, conventional things around sort of excess demand and the supply of certain skills, demand into solution delivery spaces, and just a need to rethink about how we treat business processing. I think that's where it all started. It's, get in, re-engineer things, understand where there's pain points, and then have a different perspective on it. And I think what RPA and what automation as a whole has brought is allowing us to have that perspective on processes that have conventionally not been changed in years. So I think that's where it all started. And I think Tags highlighted a few key impactful metrics. And I mean, it's been a great journey for us in terms of understanding where automation lies in the business. We started fundamentally in servicing, and now we're looking to expand this and institutionalize this capability across our broader OML business.
Great. And so obviously it looks like you're really feeling some great success with the automation that you started. What about the customers? What is the digital customer experience like now? Tell us a little bit about that.
So, Kavita, I think digital and digital transformations are interesting. I hate using the term digital because it's almost like saying we are in the age of electricity. But it does tell you, you'll know you are successful when you stop using the word digital and it becomes natively embedded in everything that you do. I think that's really where our program is taking us. It's really about creating digital citizens and making certain that we can perpetuate that journey in a way that gives our customers access to our services in a way that's most convenient to them. So we're looking at how we identify all our channels, how we understand our customers' needs, making certain that we have this hyper-personalized approach that does away with your traditional segmentation and really creates a segment of one around a particular customer. And, we do believe that our suite of services, in particular, our automation team, is the very thing that will help drive us into the future. Kusheel?
Yeah, well, I mean, in terms of digital transformation, that's very interesting. I chuckled at the beginning. It is the buzzword, right? And I think, you know, you become a matured business capability when you stop using the word digital transformation or digitization. You start building on, what it means to leverage data about our customers, data about employees to improve processing. And I think that's where we needing to head into. I think what automation as a whole has enabled us, Tags alluded to it earlier, is, there's been a challenging period over the last few months. We all know about that. The impact it's had on our customers has been significant. Access to services, access to products has been a challenge with restricted movements, obviously challenges around employment, and access to funds is needed. And what automation has allowed us to do is almost be channel agnostic. It's allowed us to service customers out of different entry points. It's allowed us to respond to actual needs. And I think that's what digital transformation is about, and how we're viewing, the part that automation plays in this transformation journey.
Well, it's not just had a huge impact on your customers, it's actually had a huge impact on your business model. So tell us, what does your future business operating model look like?
Kusheel, do you want to start and then maybe I'll continue?
Yeah, sure. I don't mind. And it's an interesting question because, at the start, automation carries the negative connotation that it generally does. And the way we're viewing it at Old Mutual is about augmenting workforces. It's about creating a highly skilled, multi-skilled digital workforce that supports and augments the capacity that we have already, leveraging the best out of people. And I think what it's allowed us to do is, really understand what are menial tasks, what are repetitive tasks that's consuming time. How can we remove that from a daily life of an administrator and allow that person to have more meaningful engagement with customers, apply themselves to different problem solving, because now we have that capacity to think in that way. And I think that's really how, it's impacted the service model. It's allowed us to, almost not worry about the monotonous, mundane tasks and really think about proper service. And I think that's what's the key points and impact it's had on the service models. I don't know, Tags, if you want to add to that.
Yeah, absolutely, Kusheel. I think you've articulated it. I think as we move forward into the future and think about these future operating models, I think doing the work that we're doing also allows us to go back to some of the things we used to do that made us great. And that really is the traditional customer engagement augmented with the new ways of engaging with customers. Because I think the important thing is to maintain that end-to-end engagement with your customer, and not the day they sign up and never hear from them again until the day, there's a claim, as an example, in our insurance world. But really to create a journey for our customers and a life cycle where there's continuous engagement at meaningful times, and that those key moments of truth for our customers are always met, and we amaze customers with our service and our advice. That's the first point I'd make, Kavita. The second one is, I think we also have an opportunity here because, like Kusheel said, there's sometimes a negative connotation with automation, and we see it very differently. We also see that automation and the work we've been doing out of applied intelligence is actually creating many, many new roles that 2, 3, 4 years ago, we would have never thought existed. I mean, we've recently gone out into the market looking for what we've called evolution engineers. And these are real business translators. So people with very deep-seated experience in the technology, but at the same time, very strong business acumen skills and the ability to bring those two worlds together. So that's been quite an interesting experience as well. And I think as we progress this journey, we'll be moving applied intelligence as a team into a model that's really 24/7 and really, let's say, real bionic status, where we've so far augmented people with machines and technology that we'd be able to run this business in a way that we'd never been able to before.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was just going to ask you, we at Blue Prism, we look at automation as 3 waves, as you know, starting with efficiency and productivity, then moving on to business performance, and finally peaking with business transformation. What would you guys say that you are on the Blue Prism scale?
So on the Blue Prism scale, maybe I'll start. And I'd say that, we started off in the place where we were really focusing on efficiency. I think we moved from good to great. And, I'm going to quote a commonly used term, I think we're in a state where we're moving from great to greater there. And that's really putting us in that space of more business transformation now. So we're moving from that space of efficiency gain to real customer-led and customer experience focus. So everything that we do in line with our business philosophy and our strategy is really putting customers at the center of everything that we do, focusing a lot more on the why we're doing things and making certain that we continuously amaze customers with our service and our advice. Kusheel, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think, I mean, in terms of how automation supports that, in terms of the phases of how we've looked at this, you have the conventional initialize, industrialize, institutionalize. We've been following those, I guess, stage gates in how we treat the capability and the maturity of the capability. In terms of output and benefits and what's really being seen as tangible benefits. Yes, we started at looking at service productivity and efficiency gains, and it still is an important criteria for us. But I think as we're moving into that, more expanded, institutionalized type of capability, the prerogatives and imperatives of different lines of business become different. And like Tags mentioned, customer experience becomes something that, we're driving holistically as a business with almost all of our strategic themes, with almost the efficiencies and productivity gains happening as a consequence. And really it's around driving that centralized customer experience, that segment of one that Tags mentioned. And it is almost simplifying the complex nature that Old Mutual generally is through using automation and creating those sorts of almost authentic, seamless, frictionless experiences for the customers. And that's where we think we are now in that transformation phase, going back, understanding where things could have been done better, expanding to different parts of the business where, we could apply these technologies and techniques in proper strategic ways. And I think that's more in the transformation side, but not losing the goal of gaining efficiencies and productivity.
Because that's the big challenge, isn't it? It's transformation at scale. That's, I think, the challenge for everybody. Tell us how you feel like you want this to look for you in the future.
Kusheel, I think this is one you should meet.
Yeah, sure. I don't mind. And that's something I'm quite passionate about. Being there from the start, it's been a really interesting journey to take something that's been proof of value concept, really early player in the insurance space, in the African space, and taking this concept and, understanding what's the full almost capability, unlocking its full potential. That means driving it at scale. And I think we alluded to a few stats earlier, having over 200 bots in production, releasing millions of minutes, upticks in customer experience targets. But I think what it means for us from a maturity perspective is, continuing driving that automation mandate through the business, almost extending our reach to other parts of other functional areas. But I think it's also about, and what we spent significant time doing last year is almost complementing our automation, our simple automation with cognitive automation techniques. And that means introduction of new skills. It means introduction of, complementary technologies that suit the Blue Prism set or suit the automation sets. And what that's allowing us to do is, one, develop new skills in our team. Two, move into this world of, really leveraging data, really leveraging the idea of hyper-personalization to drive these frictionless automated experiences. So I think for us at scale, it's about embedding these cognitive automation, complementary technologies. It's about moving into more reactive type of DevOps worlds. We're allowed to do many changes very quickly and respond to customer kind of needs very quickly. I think that's very relevant in these times. And that's what it means for us to build automation at scale.
So I absolutely agree with Kusheel, and I think I'll take a little bit of a different stance in the way I see the world right now. I'm a big follower of the Renaissance. I think it is a period where the world saw some of the greatest improvements in a very short space of time that helped propel us into the future. I do believe that we are at our own version of a Renaissance right now, as in the world, and almost at an inflection point. I think it is absolutely exciting, the amount of technological advancements that we have. I think it's about how we all take that and help us move forward, propel ourselves forward into the future. And I do believe by working together that we will achieve greatness. I do think as well, I would say that one of the inflection points for us was a partnership with Blue Prism just over 2 years ago in terms of our journey and our inflection point as an organization where we were transforming. And I think we've seen such great perpetual growth in that space that I can only dream of what the next couple of years are going to bring on this journey. And I'm excited.
Well, great. Exciting news for all of us. Gents, it was a pleasure to have you all with us. Thanks so much to both of you for joining me, both looking so sharp. Thanks for giving us your time today. Lovely to see you.
Thanks for tuning in to Transform Now. For more insightful discussions on digital transformation and more, check out our podcast channel where you'll find all of our previous episodes. To make sure you never miss an episode, subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast player. And if you like what you heard, please leave us a review. For more information about digital transformation and the future of work, check out blueprism.com to learn how Blue Prism's digital workforce is enabling enterprise transformation now.